Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubrali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
2 women killed in Toronto daylight stabbing identified by police. OPP vehicles, big box stores vandalized over the weekend in Wasaga Beach. Toronto Metropolitan University goes bold with new nickname for athletics teams. Ontario passes motion to skip public hearings on long-term care legislation. Man and woman arrested in a connection with assault at Toronto Blue Jays game. Niagara Falls mayor blasts dangerous TikTok stunt as really bad idea. TD Bank sees up to 25% drop in Canadian home prices by early 2023.
Those were the headlines, and let's jump right into the details.
Toronto police have identified 2 women fatally stabbed in North York Friday. The incident happened around 3:30 p.m. near Bathurst Street, which is between Finch and Shepherd Avenues. According to police, a 46-year-old man later identified as Godfrey Sigurd of Toronto was involved in an altercation with 2 women. Officers arrived to find 2 female victims with life-threatening injuries. Despite life-saving measures, they were both pronounced dead at the scene. On Sunday, police identified the 2 victims as 44-year-old Elvie Sigurd and 20-year-old Angelica Sigurd, both of Toronto. Godfrey Sigurd was arrested on the scene and has been charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. He appeared in court on August 27th. Ontario Provincial Police are asking for the public's help to identify those responsible for various Highway Traffic Act infractions and mischief incidents that happened over the weekend in Wasaga Beach, including the vandalism of 2 vehicles. In a video posted late Sunday afternoon on social media, Constable Martin Henry said that multiple suspects allegedly damaged and smashed the windows of 2 occupied OPP vehicles earlier that morning, one of which had a police dog inside near Beck and Main Streets. Thankfully, the officers and the dog were unharmed, he said, adding numerous investigations are also underway to identify suspects wanted in a number of other incidents that occurred in town in overnight hours of August 27 and 28. They include property damage at the Canadian Tire store on 45th Street and Walmart Supercenter on Stonebridge Boulevard. Hatchie said police are also investigating a break and enter at the Walmart location. The safety of our community and our officers is our number one priority, and safety of us both was jeopardized. We want to make it clear that this behavior will not be tolerated, he said. You will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Over the weekend, an unsanctioned car rally was held in Wasaga Beach, though it is unclear at this point whether that event might be related to the vandalism. Toronto Metropolitan University made a major move in cutting ties to its long-term Ryerson name, so why not go bold in its athletics renaming as well? TMU announced Monday that its sports team will now be called the TMU Bold, one of the 3 finalists selected from more than 4,800 survey contributions. TMU's new mascot will be Falcon. The idea of Bold came from the feedback that was developed from community members, said Jen McMillan, Vice Provost Students at TMU. They wanted a name that was unique, that was confident. Boldness really embodies a lot about our university and what we are trying to do. We obviously made a very bold decision to change the name of the institution, and we really want it to continue to be bold. So it's something that we think we can really cultivate alongside the university's new name. TMU announced in August of 2021 it was dumping the Ryerson name and growing calls for the change. Egerton Ryerson was an architect of Canada's residential school system, and demands ramped up following the discovery of what are believed to be the remains of Indigenous children in unmarked graves on the grounds of former residential schools. Macmillan said, "Bold isn't a nickname you find elsewhere. And that's part of the point," she said. "That something that was important to us is that you don't hear a lot of teams named the Bold. That is a part of the reason that we think it fits well with feedback that the community gave us. National Women's Soccer League team OL Reign is nicknamed the Bold." Macmillan likened the name to the NHL's Minnesota Wild. Ontario has passed a motion to skip public hearings for legislation that would allow hospital patients awaiting long-term care to be transferred to a home without their consent. Long-term care minister Paul Calandra has said the legislation will free up badly needed acute care beds in hospitals. It would allow hospital patients to be moved to a temporary long-term care home without their consent while they awaited a bed in their preferred facility. The government moved a motion last week that would advance the bill directly to third reading, which means it will not be considered by committee or be subject to public hearings at that stage. The legislation does not allow patients to be physically moved to a long-term care home, but it remains unclear what would happen if a patient refused a transfer. The NDP says the process is anti-democratic, and critics say the legislation unfairly targets the sick, old, and vulnerable. Two people wanted in connection with an alleged assault at a Toronto Blue Jays game over the weekend have surrendered to police and are now facing charges. The incident, which was captured on video, took place at around 9:15 p.m. on Friday while the Blue Jays were playing host to the Los Angeles Angels at the Rogers Center. Toronto police say that two groups of people were involved in some sort of argument in the stands when it turned physical. It is alleged that a man and woman then assaulted a 31-year-old woman. Police say that the woman was injured in the attack. She received medical attention at the stadium before being transported to hospital for further treatment. The two suspects meanwhile left the stadium without speaking to police. In a news release issued on Monday, investigators said that both individuals had turned themselves in at 52 Division. David Freeman, 30, of Toronto is charged with assault and aggravated assault, while Safira Andrews, 25, of Toronto is charged with assault. A report by TD Bank suggests the average price of a home in Canada could fall 20 to 25% from its peak seen earlier this year to the first quarter of 2023. The report also estimates the number of home sales will fall 35% over the same time period. TD economist Rishi Sondhi says the projected price drop represents an unprecedented decline, at least going as far back as the late 1980s when the data began, but it follows an unequally unprecedented rise during the pandemic. The report notes the drop in national home prices would only partially retrace the 46% gain over the course of the pandemic. As such, Sondhi writes that the forecast can be more aptly described as a recalibration of the market instead of something more severe. Long-term TD remains more positive on the outlook of housing because it says population growth should remain healthy, underpinning fundamental demand for housing. This report by the Canadian Press was first published August 29, 2022. The mayor of Niagara Falls, Ontario, is condemning a video uploaded to TikTok last week that shows a number of dangerous stunts performed near the edge of the falls. The video, which has amassed more than 150,000 views in the 4 days it's been online, was uploaded by TikTok user Fantib and shows an individual posing and taking photographs in a number of different positions dangerously close to the edge of the falls. In the video's caption, the user says he is a professional daredevil, warning others not to attempt the stunts. Niagara Mayor Jim Diodati denounced the stunt when reached for the comment. This type of stunt is really bad idea. It's exactly what we don't need here in Niagara Falls, Diodati said in a statement to CTV News Toronto Monday. It sets a poor example for kids and they think it's all about getting more views on social media. It's really unfortunate where that's going on, he said. CTV News Toronto has reached out to Niagara Parks Police for comment.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.